Boom, baby, we're live. Welcome to the Tokyo Crypto Show, episode 97, Apple buying billions of Bitcoin. Today we're going to talk about this hot rumor that has just hit the circuit. I've been seeing it on the internet and at a couple different locations. I'm joined by my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Charlie from cultivatecrypto.com. Charlie, how are you this fine evening in Tokyo?
Yeah, things are going fantastic. Stuff getting wild in the cryptocurrency space with prices dropping, jumping, moving all over the place. So there's a lot of, when there's volatility, there's a lot of opportunity, which makes things fun.
It is indeed a fun time to be involved in cryptocurrency, and I am loving it. We are going to talk to you guys today about this rumor. So we got a little special episode we're going to do today. So what we're going to do, because we're just going to jump right into it. So we're going to talk about the prices of three coins we think everybody should be watching, which is number one, Bitcoin, number two, Ethereum, and then number three, the discount buy of the summer, in my opinion, is DOT. DOT and how it's loosely, and Kusama, we'll do a little bit of Kusama little Kusama review as well. That being said, after that, we're going to talk about, we have a little spurging, talking about how Ethereum's this guy's talking about how Ethereum is a scam, and we're just going to address his crybaby antics. What's his name again? James Mall?
This is a good question. Jack Mallers, apparently.
Jack Mallers. Let's see. Yeah, Jack Mallers crying on the Pomp podcast with Anthony Pompolino. So we'll be talking about that, and then we're going to talk about the rumor that Apple potentially just bought $2.5 billion in Bitcoin. We're going to talk about all that here on the Tokyo Crypto Show. Charlie, before we get going, tell me, are you afraid of what is going on in the cryptocurrency markets right now?
No.
Are you feeling like you're going to lose money and everything's gonna, we're crashing down to 10K, and Dan Peña is right again.
It's all a Ruski conspiracy, right? A Ruski conspiracy.
All a Ruski conspiracy. The Russians are coming. Hex is going to the moon. Bitcoin's going to zero. What a world we live in.
I view it as a massive opportunity. Usually after prices crash, basically to some degree, basically what happens is, you pick up some Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then you watch your favorite, like whatever coins you're looking to get. Let's say it's Polkadot, Kusama, right? You watch your favorite altcoins, not compared to dollars, but compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? And then as they start outpacing Bitcoin and Ethereum again, which generally takes some time, right? It's not going to kind of like happen right away. Depending on where Bitcoin dominance is at, then you can use your Bitcoin, Ethereum that you bought cheaply, right, to then buy up more of the altcoins and lower your average price on your positions, and more coins, the merrier, right? So it's all about that, cultivating that crypto, basically. So, I think a lot of people, one thing that they don't do, and I can explain this when I show the charts a little bit later. One thing that they don't do is they don't look at the crypto to crypto ratios or pairs, because it's kind of like going into a foreign land, right? When you go to another country, sometimes you're like, what the heck are these, coins, right? Or, how much is this worth? How much is that worth? And it just confuses people. So I usually tell people, you have to have one strategy or the other, which is, are you looking to gain more dollars? Or are you looking to gain more crypto? And of crypto, which crypto specifically? Bitcoin, Ethereum, something else. Right. And you have to base most of your strategies on accumulating those coins or taking your profits and accumulating those dollars, right? We know the US dollar is probably the biggest shit coin that there is. It's ever been created in the history of mankind. And it's the world reserve currency, so it's still around. But it's one of these things where Bitcoin, basically between, I would say, 2025 and 2045, roughly that range, will prove itself as, the superior asset. Now, that doesn't mean that people worldwide will, all use it, but it'll definitely be a good chunk of the economy. I think Dan Moorhead from Pantera Capital, one of the things that he said, which is a little nuts, but I like, some moon math, right? Which is, he was thinking Bitcoin would become 20% of most global value, which would bring Bitcoin's market cap to about $250 trillion sometime after 2030, which is a little nuts. And that would be some very, very expensive Bitcoin in terms of the price of the per coin, right? And so then we'd probably be mainly talking about sats at that point. People have to kind of recalibrate. And actually, what was it? Cash App, right, is already in front of that trend. Usually they don't tell you how much Bitcoin you're getting. They tell you how many sats you're getting. So I think, guys like Jack Dorsey, who have been in the, internet, internet evolution game for a while, right? They see this coming, and, the smart people, smart money are getting into it. So that's kind of what's going on. And Elon, right, he was talking about this thing with Apple. So here's my skepticism on the Apple thing, and then we'll get more deeper into that, because there are some benefits they're not benefits. There are some things with the Apple rumors, basically, that you're like, okay, that kind of, makes sense for a bit. But when Elon basically tweets in all caps and says Apple's buying this amount of Bitcoin, right? He's like the world's biggest troll over there on Twitter. So, it's basically like, yeah, he's getting in on the joke, basically, in my opinion. But that's basically my thoughts on the beginning of that. But I don't know if you want to talk more about what's happening with Bitcoin and Ethereum first, but we'll just kind of keep it at that.
No, I mean, I just think it's all good information here. But I don't know, man. I just really hate Elon. Like, after his whole bull crap with him saying like, definitely, that like Bitcoin's terrible for the environment. Therefore, that's what we're gonna pull our investments on it. We're not gonna support it anymore. Meanwhile, pumping Doge, and I'm just like, dude, like, I don't know, man. I take it personally. I fucking hate the guy now.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that he said, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? He's like, Doge is more scalable than Bitcoin and Ethereum, and like all this bullshit. It's like, it's a mixture between him just trolling the shit out of basically everybody, and not giving a shit for wrecking people, basically, because there's a lot of people who are buying Doge, at like 50 cents, 70 cents, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But also, or a mixture between just his ignorance on cryptocurrency in general.
Somebody in the chat, CC, says Apple didn't actually buy Bitcoin. It was a Twitter joke that spread like wildfire. Was a good example of how quickly fake news spreads, even if it was just a joke.
Correct.
Right. So do we have a confirmation? Is this a joke or not? I don't know.
I mean, my biggest thing on it is just Elon tweeting about it. So once he's tweeting about it, I'm like, okay, basically not important, or not likely, I would say. Right. But at the same time, one of the things that I think about with Apple buying Bitcoin is I think they eventually will. And I think we'll show the article here that has like both sides of the coin in terms of the information, right? And so the one thing that's really, really interesting is, I've actually said this from January of this year, which was, once Apple does get into the game with cryptocurrency, right, we'll be at the top of the market, right? To me, that's a sell signal.
Right. We're gonna go over that stuff. We have all the notes and everything set in place here. But in the meantime, what we'll do right now, Charlie's got his charts ready for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then DOT. We're just gonna be talking about some bullish situations that we think are absolutely plausible. I have not personally touched my bag at all. I am 100% like, I'm not worried whatsoever. I'm just not, like, there's not a worry in my soul right now about anything. And I just have peace. I really just have some legit peace. And I don't know. I'm just totally at peace.
Yeah. And I think there was one of the guys in my comments from yesterday's show or whatever, pro special, what he said was, hey, I'm working 2 side hustles trying to get as much income as I can so I can throw more into crypto, right?
Smart guy.
Yeah, I think extremely smart. Now, there's some people that it's still got to be the money that you're willing to not touch for several years, right? It's got to be money that you're willing to hold as a long-term savings account. Because I have also talked to some people who are like, it's only intending to put in like, let's say a couple, 10, 20, 30, $40,000, end up putting in close to six figures. It's like, how did that happen? Just kind of went down that path, and they got addicted to it to some extent. So you also kind of have to understand how your emotions play into this. I think each person's very different. When Bitcoin was down at, $3,000, I was like, this is fantastic, right? I can buy as much as I can at that time. And then same with now. Actually, I like it when the prices are down because it's an opportunity just to keep scooping up as much as you can. So this is a blessing in disguise. Now, I think most of the people who have been watching our channels understand that. And throughout the last, 2.5 years of us doing this show on a weekly basis, we usually get people who are like very positive when the prices are quote unquote crashing, because I can get more. Great. Because, when it does go up, they get kind of FOMO in terms of like, crap, I wish I would have bought more.
Right.
And that was a lot of the sentiment under 10K Bitcoin. But recently, that sentiment has slightly changed in the chat. There's more spurgs in the space. Mm-hmm. That just means there's more new money coming to the space. And that was from February. And the funny thing about that is the memes, they got better from February of this year. And then they just got worse like over the last couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So it's like all the new people basically came in, on the Tesla news and then puked up their positions on the way down and came in and came out of the market. And, those are the people who don't understand enough about how crypto works or how this is a long-term game and not get rich quick scheme, right? And if you're the type of person that can't hold, right, and put in not more than you're willing to lose and use it as a long-term savings account, if you can't do it that much of a basic level and then do your homework and understand this and expect to get like new all-time highs every single day, then you're probably not cut out for this market. And that's unfortunate because most people should have crypto. From this point on, we know it's not going anywhere. And what I was discussing in my show yesterday is a lot of the, a lot of just the different indicators on Bitcoin, whether you're looking at it on chart perspective or on-chain analytics or whatever. A lot of the data is all back to the same place that it was when Bitcoin was 10K. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like what I could just call it kind of like the great reset, the great crypto reset, right? Which is a good thing because basically it takes all the steam, all the over leverage out of the market, makes people sane again, right? And actually bearish, which is a good time to be buying. Right. And then it just basically, it's kind of like a steam pressure cooker, right? When it gets like too overheated and it's about to explode, it's probably good to release the valve a little bit, right, let that steam out, and then like you do the process over again. And that's how crypto works. And people who can't try to understand that or figure that out in the short term, right, they're just not going to be in here long term. And most of the money that helped a lot of these prices go down is due to leverage over the last few months. And then also there's a little bit related to the mining stuff, but not as much. I mean, there were some miners taking profits when the prices were very high. And then also just over speculation by new money. So the new money came in and went out, but all the whales and all the old money are still accumulating more Bitcoin. Their addresses are getting more Bitcoin at the current moment.
I think the overall market sentiment is pretty shitty right now. And I think
person, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Certainly not talking about us. Definitely talking about all the dirty, stinking normies out there. And I think it was yesterday on your show, the fear and greed index has been stuck at fear for 2 months in a row now.
Yeah, it's just like extreme fear, like every day, every week for the last at least 1 month.
Right, and so that really is something to consider, for all you guys watching us now, all right, I'm going to give you benefit of the doubt that you're the diehards, and you have to take a good emotional catalog of yourself and think of how frantic and psychotic you were acting when Bitcoin was $60,000, right? Think about that. You were ready to sell your dog. You were ready to sell your cat. You were ready to sell your house, your kidney, your fucking cousin, whatever, to get Bitcoin. Now, you are like just sitting there terrified, freaking out, worried, considering selling your bags because you bought high, now you want to sell low. And guys like us are on the complete opposite spectrum. We are like, how can I buy more right now? How can I acquire more? I knew, like, for example, this is not financial advice, this is a little degenerate, but this past weekend, I know
you got the right shirt on.
yeah, tell me. So to fill my crypto degeneracy this past weekend, so I'm a pretty big MMA fan, and I've been following the rise and fall of Conor McGregor, and I knew that Conor has an active coke problem, and he was reading his body language at the press conference. He was coked out of his fucking mind. He's won one fight since Obama's been president, and that was against a washed up Donald Cerrone. And then all the other fights have been a wash. He's lost all of them. He's been filmed coming out of crack houses, literally been filmed coming out of crack houses. He's punching old guys in the face. He's throwing trolleys through buses and stuff. You can clearly see this is a man on a downward spiral who was a victim of his own success. So I knew he was going to lose this past weekend. And so I ended up making a wager. I bet 0.24 Bitcoin on him to lose, and I was paid out 0.177 Bitcoin. So that was about $5,600. Yeah, 0.177 was what I got profit. Only about $5,600. However, we know I just got free Bitcoin. I just got 17.7% of one Bitcoin absolutely for free. I'm not touching that. And when we hit the top 100K plus, that's going to be $18,000, $19,000, $20,000, $25,000, $35,000 down the road.
Yeah, if you hold it till the end of the decade,
easily,
100,000.
Exactly, and I'm going to be holding it. I'm not touching. I don't sell my Bitcoin. And so, that being said, that was me using this opportunity where people are a little bit more reckless with their Bitcoin, and obviously, don't advise gambling, whatever, blah blah blah. But
yeah,
I'm a huge MMA fan, and I am very aware of people's psyche by watching them, and I could just tell Conor was just not there, and he's a victim of his own success. And so I was able to score some Bitcoin this weekend, while on a luxury resort in Okinawa. So I know now is the time to kind of be a little bit more aggressive to accumulate as much as you can. And, I really think that right now, for the guys that want to make money, I really think that, in my personal opinion, DOT is the real moneymaker right now. In my opinion, like this, it's like a safe bet, especially at its low price and where we are projecting it to go, which is $200 plus. I think that is something that every guy should pay attention to. Because remember, we were telling you guys to buy DOT. It was $3-4, and DOT went to $45. DOT is definitely going to hit $45-50 by the end of this year, in my opinion. So even from now, that is a minimum 3x on your money compared to having it sit in the bank account, get eroded away, and have Beijing Biden knocking on your door for some tax money.
Oof.
So that's just my perspective there. And clearly, as EC Smooth has said in the chat, not financial advice.
Yes. But when you're confident in very confident in what you think is going to go down with that. I mean, it made for me, I was watching the fight. I was like, man, John's bet made this a lot more interesting for me because I was like, I don't want you to lose some Bitcoin, but made things more interesting. It's just like, okay, let's see what's going on here.
Oh man, as soon as I saw his leg slap, I was like, thank you, cocaine problem Conor. Thank you so much. But anyways, leg break or not, he was going to lose that fight. I see somebody in the chat saying Conor was winning the first round. No, he was not. He was laying on his back, getting his face pummeled in. He was not winning it at all.
Yeah. He was bleeding like a son of a gun by the end of that round.
Oh, yeah, he busted his cauliflower ear open. But anyways, what we're trying to say is now is the time to make the acquisition. Free money's coming up again because Conor will be fighting Dustin Poirier for the fourth time because Dana just needs to beat this horse until he can get all the money out of Conor he can. And so that's going to be more free money for me because Conor will lose that fourth fight as well. That being said, Charlie, do you have the Bitcoin chart ready? We can do Bitcoin, Ethereum, then DOT.
Yeah, we can take a look at all the charts and see.
Let's take a look at what we got here.
Alrighty. You got this?
Here we go. Full screen. It's all you.
All right. So basically what I was saying on my show yesterday is Bitcoin, according to its cycles, is weak, right? And so we have prices basically at the same price they were yesterday, but the low over the last 24 hours is about $31,500. So we are down at the bottom section of this. And so the cycles are weak into about the 19th to 25th of July. So that's just over the course of the next 1 week to 10 days. So if we take a look at that, we have the 60-day cycles a la Bob Lucas right here on day 55. Actually, I don't think that's exactly the one I wanted, but oh yeah, they changed this. Interesting. But anyways, we have day 55 here on the cycle. And usually when you have a cycle that is negative or bearish, how do you determine if one is? Basically, you're measuring from low to low over the course of an average of 60 days for Bitcoin. And when that high comes before day 30, the closer it is to day 30, the more neutral it is. But the further that it comes before day 30, the more bearish it is. And we saw that in the previous cycle, right? With the high coming on day 19, Bitcoin trying to regain that and then failing pretty hard, right, into the this. But what you notice with the bearish cycle is basically the low is usually a little bit before or around day 60, whereas a bullish cycle usually can get extended to something like this one was 75 days. This one was right on the dot at 60 days, and so on and so forth. So this one was 72 days, which was bullish with a 50-day high. And so today is day 55. So technically speaking, we could be hitting a cycle low sometime soon, like I said, within the next 5 days. So that would be between now and sometime over the weekend. And it'll really be interesting to see how low Bitcoin can go here. I think there's two levels that people should be paying attention to. One is basically 30,000, 30,500. Somewhere in that region, if Bitcoin can hold basically above this line here, right? If I just put that line there above 30,000, 30,500, then the next bounce on Bitcoin could actually be pretty decent heading into August. So I think that's one thing a lot of people are not expecting or looking for right now, because the market is like all bearish. That would be like kind of more like a crab market or sideways market, right? If we were to go down, the level to pay attention to is around 27 to 29,000, but probably mainly 27 to 28,500. If that area does fail, right, then you could see lower prices down towards like 24K. Personally, I don't think that'll happen immediately. Like, we have plenty of time left in this cycle that could happen, but I think we probably hold up above 29 to 30K here for a bit. We bounce and then get some rejection again, and then maybe we get the more severe dip potentially in end of August, early September, going into delayed tax time, which some people who've delayed their taxes as much as possible in the US can delay it till mid-September. So that's usually not a positive for the price action of crypto in general. So it'd be really interesting to watch what Bitcoin does here. So just to remind people, when you're looking at the chart, it's probabilistic, right? We're not saying this is going to happen or that's going to happen. We're saying if this, then that, right? So people who are software developers, I think, really catch that really easily, because that's, how logic works. But a lot of people think with their emotions and are not logical. So that's why some people are like, oh my God, we're going to 10K. And then other people are like, oh my God, we're going to new all-time highs from here. The bottom's in, and it's like, it's probably neither. It's probably a mixture of the two.
Right.
But, keeping level-headed about it is important. So that's kind of what's going on with the Bitcoin price. Relatively boring right now. If we take a look at Ethereum is worse when it comes to the cycles. The reason being is because it had a very bullish cycle here, and then it had like an extremely bearish cycle because the previous high on Ethereum is like on day 3 of this current cycle. So usually when you have a cycle high in the very short end of the cycle, it's not good. So that's why we got basically a lower low here for Ethereum, just slightly from where the cycle began. And it really depends on what happens with Bitcoin. Ethereum right now is going to follow Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's back in charge of the market for the most part, but if we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, we can see Bitcoin dominance is kind of going sideways. So once the market does come back with force, Bitcoin dominance will come up probably towards the high 40 range. And it'll be really interesting to see what happens at that time, because if it just kind of basically, let's see here, if it basically just kind of comes up here, gets rejected from this previous trend line that we've had for a while, that would be good for the alts. But if it does kind of come above that trend line, get it as support, and then just kind of weekly goes between like high 40s and low 50% of market dominance, that would actually be, Bitcoin would dominate the market, but the alts wouldn't get hit too bad. Now, if Bitcoin dominance goes to like 55% or something like that, that would make the alts bleed like crazy. So that's why I said it towards the beginning, right? If we get a violent dip to the downside, you'll mainly want to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then wait for basically dominance to kind of subside to the downside, and then use your gains on Bitcoin, Ethereum to buy your altcoins. But if you're taking the simple route and just looking at it in dollar terms, then you can buy everything down at the lows. Just understand that it might take longer for the altcoins to come back, because when Bitcoin dominance comes back, basically Bitcoin just says, who's your daddy and what does he do? If anybody remembers it, the Arnold Schwarzenegger quote.
Kindergarten cop.
Anyways, it'll come back and flip the market, right? And everybody like, oh my God, my altcoins are, my altcoin bags are dying, but it is what it is. So that's that on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and just the overall macro on the market. Did you want to go into Dot right after that, or do you want to say something about those two?
No, I mean, I got a quote here. Let me put our handsome faces on the camera here. Alrighty. So my question for you here, no, it's okay. I just pulled this up on the side, and it's fine. My question for you is, we seem to be in like a consolidation phase right now, and it seems like there's not a lot of hot market action. It seems like we're gonna be going sideways for a little bit. What is the official Cultivate Crypto prediction? What are you thinking here?
So again, it's the if this then that. So if we can keep above 29K, easy, we bounce back up to like 38K on Bitcoin and 2,500 on Ethereum, going into EIP 5059, which is on around August 4th. Mm-hmm. And so, it's all about that level of $29,000 to $27,000. If we breach 27,000 or basically go below $27,000, then 24K is likely. So it's a if this then that. We can't say exactly what's going to happen, but either way, I'm prepared for both scenarios.
How long do you think this kind of, if you will say, boring sideways action, how long do you think it will last personally?
Through September, and then things don't start heating up again until October. Kind of like we were talking last week. I think you mentioned, right? Accumulation ain't over until October, and that'll be a good time for people to accumulate a lot. Now, if you look at the stock to flow ratio, right? Plan B has mentioned one thing, which is he thinks, or he would like, in order for his $288,000 Bitcoin prediction by the end of the year, if that were to come to pass, Bitcoin would need to be around $47,000 at the end of August.
Do you think that'll happen?
Personally, no, but it is possible, especially if Bitcoin holds above 30K over the course of the next 1 week to 10 days, and then gets a good bounce. Once it can recover above $42,000, then anything above any prices above that are now in the cards, and then it will probably trend towards about $75,000 after it regains that level. So I think $42,000 is kind of like the new $10,500, right? We were under $10,500 for a really long time. In 2019, we went above there briefly and then came back down below it, and that was resistance for a very long time. Great accumulation period under 10,500. You were saying, right, every man should have one Bitcoin around that time, and that's when it was last feasible for a lot of people to get that. So, the one thing I said in my show yesterday is Bitcoin having the same metrics in a lot of different ways at 30,000 as it did at 10,000 is super bullish for me, because what it's saying is we're getting a higher low, right? And the steam is let out, and the prices, can then realistically gain more to the upside over the course of the next 1 year. If we hadn't had this dump and this accumulation phase, basically the next bear market would be much, much worse and much, much longer. So it's actually a positive thing, but the newer people into the crypto space may have a hard time understanding that.
Got to decompress the normies. I mean, when stuff like cum rockets is going up 27,000% in less than 6 months, something's it's not sustainable. But I think this is healthy. This is a good market shakeout. And our man Bob Lucas talked about this. I think next week we should do a review on that video.
Which video was it? His like 4-year video that he's been talking about from time to time, or
talking about being emotional and like divorce yourself from emotions.
Yeah, he's really good. He's been trading in not only in crypto but in the forex markets and stock market and commodities and all that for I think over 25, 30 years. So he's for correct mindset, right? He's very, very good advice.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Just hold. Just hodl. Okay, so let's talk about DOT now, because I think this is like for guys out there who are like using. So there's a certain type of person that's in cryptocurrency that's just using cryptocurrency to multiply their fiat. And I think, in my opinion, the best bet right now to multiply your best bet right now to multiply your fiat is DOT, in regards to a credible coin with a good team, a solid background, and a solid use case. DOT's currently, what is it, 50? It's floating between like $15 and $20, right?
Yeah, the last time I looked, I think
it's currently at $13.95. It's actually lower than we thought.
Perfect.
So basically $14. So I'm thinking that DOT is definitely something to take a look at. You want to chart that up?
Yeah, let's take a look. Just before we took a look at the chart, the one thing that's really cool about Polkadot, and I've been saying this ever since August of last year. So we're around this time last year when Kusama was around $7 to $8 is when I basically said Kusama was my dark horse of 2020. And the reason why is it's part of the Polkadot ecosystem, which is the simplest way to put this is it's an interoperability play. By interoperability means blockchains that can operate with other blockchains, because right now the Ethereum blockchain is siloed, the Bitcoin blockchain is siloed. It's just kind of like a siloed database, right? And they can't really communicate effectively between each other. So what you're going to get over the next decade, right? And Gavin Wood, the guy who created Polkadot, has been working on this problem for about 4 or 5 years. So once he saw that Ethereum wasn't going to solve this problem, he's like, well, there's some space in the market for me to do this. So went off, solved that problem for about 4 years. Once he had a good grip on it, then he's like, okay, now we're releasing the project for first Kusama, then then Polkadot. And when you look at Kusama and Polkadot together, it's kind of like Kusama's like Ethereum in terms of price action. And then, Polkadot's kind of like Bitcoin. So it's a little bit more of the boring asset, but long-term, it's the coin that you want to accumulate in that ecosystem. And because we have this interoperability thing with not only Polkadot, but also in the Cosmos ecosystem in crypto, what you're going to get over the next few years, over the next decade, is you're going to get multi-chain systems. And so it's going to be really kind of a mind shift for a lot of people in crypto, because right now, and we'll get into this when we talk about that Jack Mahler's video, now, people are so, and this is natural for humans basically, which is people are so tribalistic, right? They can't be a coin agnostic. It's really, really hard for people to be coin agnostic because they wrap up their emotions so heavily into the crypto game that they can't continue to look for places to make money. And this interoperability play is just one type of innovation in the crypto space that's going to lead to more blockchains. The more blockchains, the more choices we have. You're going to get a lot of these tribes, but then the people who can kind of separate themselves from the tribalism and from the, be what we call coin agnostic, as we promote in the crypto mindset course, these are the people who can win. So, right, is Polkadot the only cryptocurrency that you can get? Of course not. But in terms of interoperability, I would say it and Cosmos, right, are going to be very successful. Probably the two in the space that are successful, and like the Coca-Cola and Pepsi. And Polkadot to me is going to be the Coca-Cola. So that's kind of how I look at it. But let's take a look here.
Pull that DOT chart up. Take a look here. There we go.
Let's go like this. Yeah, basically somewhere in the near future, Polkadot's looking to have its first fourth wave in, and depending on timing, right? It's all dependent on what happens with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if Bitcoin and Ethereum crash below 30,000, right, we can get a price, I would say, of just around, basically, I think it'll hold around this cluster here if it goes any lower, which would be between about 750 to about 1075, right? So something like that would be good on, well, not good necessarily, but basically a great opportunity to buy a lot more. And so that's what we're looking at there. And so it looks very similar to Bitcoin, right? It basically came out here in August of last year. Around this area here is when we were telling people to basically dollar cost average in from early September through December. And that was when the average price was between about $3.80 to $6, right? And that's a great accumulation time. It goes up, comes back down here, another good accumulation time, basically between, if you're lucky to get any Polkadot under $10, personally, I would buy a ton. And then I will be buying a ton if it gets back down to $10, because I mentioned last year, right? Polkadot under $10 is like buying Ethereum under $10 in 2016, 2017. And, where's Ethereum at today? much higher.
Jesus
so
Christ.
Yeah, because I talked about this on my show a little bit yesterday. I've mentioned this story from time to time, but when me and John went to we went to Bitcoin meetups in Tokyo frequently in 2017. And one time I met this guy. He was a guy who'd made an exchange out of New Zealand, and he told me he sold all of his Ethereum at $16, and he had bought it under $1. And I was like, why did you sell it? He was like, well, because I made a good profit on it. It's like, well, yeah, great, but now it's $400+. So, and that was at that time, right? And now it's just around $2,000. So it was at $4,000 earlier this year. So, that's why it pays to be a long-term, perspective in this game, right? And not like looking at the short term. So when you see these prices come back down to where they are great accumulation levels, fantastic, right? And so that's what we're kind of seeing here with DOT, but it is really kind of trying to walk on thin ice right now at the current levels. And so we'll see what happens with Bitcoin and Ethereum here over the next few weeks. But right now, Polkadot holding up pretty decent, but still very much so in its downtrend. So a good time to be dollar cost averaging in during this time. If it can reclaim above this trend line, and then ultimately if it can reclaim, let's see here, go to the weekly chart. It really needs to, in order to kind of start getting some relief, it needs to reclaim this previous high here, which is around $28, $30. Once it reclaims that, then, right, you can start coming back up and trying to make new all-time highs. But for right now, still on that downtrend. And I'm pretty sure I'll end the week around the current price, maybe a little bit lower. So that's what's happening with Polkadot. So great discount. Take a quick look at Kusama, and then we'll take a look at the ratio between them. Right, Kusama had basically come out a lot earlier in the time last year, which came, basically here on KuCoin. It's been available in there since February of last year, and we were talking about it heavily from, I believe, mid-July last year, which was around this price here, between about $7.50 to $11 or $12. So that was a time where I was basically saying, this is good coin, time to get in. Another time after this dump here, around $25 to $32. So it was the last time to get like a significant discount on it. And now is the next time, right, to get a significant discount on it. The price had shot up here to about $600 earlier this year. It's at $200 now, and it will, this, like Polkadot, we're aiming for, a couple $100, and now it's, under $20. And for Kusama, we're aiming easily above $1,000 plus. And the guys in the course, they'll know the moon math we've done on this. And currently it's under $200. So great time to be picking these up. Don't blow your load and spend it all in one place. Obviously, you want to, dollar cost average into these things over time. But then we'll need to see Kusama come back up above probably about $375 or $400 to get really going again. And then coming up here to $1,000, $2,000 kind of on its next move towards later this year. So that's basically what's happening there. And it's good to be buying during these dips, not on the pump. So you can buy right? If you're buying when things are pumping, you want to buy right after it breaks its previous all-time high, as we were kind of doing here back in July of last year, around the sub $10 price. And then here you want to be buying also into a downtrend, which we were doing here between 25 and $30 back here. What was that? That was in October of last year, before everything just went mad. And now another time to be dollar cost averaging in. So a lot of people, they tend to focus on the tops. And as we know, tends not to go very well when you're buying tops.
Right.
So, yeah.
Are you still believing that Kusama is heading towards the $3,000 range? What would you say?
Oh yeah, easily. So it's going to be multi-$1,000s. I think if I was going to be bearish on Kusama, $2,500 to $5,000 would be underwhelming. So I think you can get you never get anything easy in this market, right? So I hesitate to say an easy 10x on this coin, but just generally speaking, I'm very bullish on Kusama as well.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've been seeing, and I watched you've got some great clips on your clips section of your YouTube channel, and the most guys, you should check this out after this episode, but there's an excellent segment where Charlie from cultivatecrypto.com and Dollar Cost Crypto sit down and talk about synthetics. It's about a 15-minute clip. You could watch it on 1.5 speed or 1.75 to make it like a 6-7 minute video. Absolutely fantastic video. I have no fear in regards to what is going on right now. I think that there is a lot to consider right now. But again, like if you're watching, like again, we're like right now, you have to remember it's not cool to talk about crypto. Like all like the typical, I want to mention, the little manosphere people and the, when people who are not specifically dedicating a portion of their channel, like me and Charlie do, like I talk every Wednesday, we talk about crypto on my channel. Yep. And Charlie talks about crypto every day on his channel. And so when you see these other people dropping off and they're not talking about crypto because it's hot right now, you got to realize those guys are click whores, and they're really not in it to win it. They're not in it for the long haul. And if you're watching right now, you have to realize like you are definitely special. You're definitely not the average idiot. And paying attention now is where you make money, because so many people. Look, I'm telling you, like for example, like we have 387 total people watching right now. I'm telling you, when it comes like quarter four and we're in the peak of the mania, we're going to probably have 500, 600 people watching live. Probably close to 1,000, to be honest with you. And everybody's going to be frothing at the mouth. Charlie's going to be booked out consultations. I'm going to be booked out consultations. And people are going to be like spazzing out in the chat. It's going to be chaos again. So for you guys that are smart enough, consistent enough, and diligent enough to consistently watch us during these, quote unquote down times, your reward is coming. Just make sure you're taking action now and being diligent and definitely not being emotional. That's the hugest thing, man. People are just so emotional when these markets.
But I've been doing this so long in crypto now, that it becomes like I feel for people and I have empathy for people, but at the same time, it becomes laughable to an extent. It's just like there's some people who they talk about, markets shouldn't be this predictable, but sometimes they are in terms of just how people react to them, right? And I mean, how many times have we heard the China FUD on crypto, right? It's like every single time. It just gets ridiculous after a while.
Steve the Carpenter says, "Mom, can you hear that? I'm not an idiot." You gotta tell your mom the quote. You gotta. Hold on. You might want to stop sharing your screen there, buddy. I did. Back at the bottom. It's there. You go.
One. Okay.
You got to give him the famous quote by Ben Affleck from Boiler Room. "Fuck you, mom and dad. See how it feels when you're making their fucking Lexus payments." All right.
Hell yeah. I watched that movie actually just this last week. I hadn't watched it in like 5 years. I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Reminds me of the good old times.
Good old times indeed. I've been shit posting on LinkedIn lately. Just a little rub the salt in the wound of our former employer. But yeah, man, I mean, me and Charlie are two peas in a far out pod right now, man. We're just chilling. Like we have like, there's no fear. There's no, if anybody exhibits fear out of this duo, it's me. And it's like more of like an uncertainty because I'm not as dialed in as Charlie is right now.
And also I think it's, partially in understanding. Cause I mean, you're really tapped into, just kind of like how the general public sentiment is, right? And right. I think, you're empathetic of that and wanting to make sure you're trying to calm people down and be like, hey guys, it's going to be all right. Like, I think that's, very valuable.
Yeah. And like I said, going back to with what's happening in the market, like I'm a good barometer. Me and Charlie like to make jokes a little bit, but like I'm a good normie barometer. Cause like sometimes when I my confidence starts to crack just a little bit, I'm like, hey Charlie, is everything gonna be okay? He's like, yep. He's like, the markets are doing their job right now. And but that's why I have Charlie as a trusted advisor, because without Charlie, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And that's why his course has had such like tremendous success. Literally millions of dollars have been made with the Cultivate Crypto Mindset course. Millions, plural. And from all corners.
For our customers too.
I don't make $1 million. I have no money.
Yeah, I don't know what we're talking about there.
I have no fucking money, but our clients are rich and happy and sending no super chats today. We haven't a single super chat from these stingy fuckers, but it's all good. They're all buying Hex. It's all good. But we're rolling, baby. We're wheeling and dealing. And we're at 400 live viewers right now. I think that's a personal record for the Tokyo Crypto Show.
Nice.
400 collectively. That's great, guys. Be sure to smash the like button. So we're gonna jump into it. Charlie, did you want to share the article from your end and scroll through, or did you want me to do it?
Either way is fine with me.
All right, I'll do the talking because you just did a whole little spiel there.
Perfect.
What we're gonna do now, we're gonna talk about this article here. And shout out to Jared Hidden, who pities us and sends $5, $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much for feeling sorry for us and sending money.
Fantastic, I know.
Jared's a great guy. He's been with us since the very, very beginning, man. Very, very beginning. Yeah, you guys got a DCC into the super chats. Start with $4.99, work your way up to 100. Anyways, this is from zycrypto.com. Adrian Kent on the 13th of July said to us, hey, we got some donates coming in now. There they are.
We guilt tripped all of them into submission.
Guilt tripped the audience into donating money. We're basically e-girls on Twitch now. Eat Lift program, $9.99 super chat. Thanks so much. Black Magic 553, $5 super chat. Sell December 2021. Let's go. That's when sales going to be $14,000. P Willie $4.99. Wen Moon December 2021. Thank you guys for the donations, but let's get this article sorted. We'll put the most expensive one. The most expensive one will keep it up, even though Josh donated to your channel. Even though he's my friend, it's okay. Did Apple just buy 2.5 billion in Bitcoin? Here's what we know so far. So we wanted to address this rumor and talk about it here on this channel. So it says crypto Twitter is currently flooded with rumors that Apple bought Bitcoin and is set to make an announcement soon. They are said to have bought Bitcoin worth $2.5 billion. Apple has not made an official statement to verify or deny the claims. Vocal pushers of the rumor on Twitter include the official handle of Galaxy Trading, a cryptocurrency company that provides financial services and investment management in digital asset, cryptocurrency, and blockchain technology sector. And the CEO of Chainlink, Joshua Roomsberg, who excitedly said he will buy an iPhone to commemorate the events if it turns out true. Notably, Apple has not made any statement about buying Bitcoin. There have been continuous speculations in the news that they have not canceled out the possibility. After Tesla announced Bitcoin purchase in February, analysts were hopeful Apple would be next. Goes on to say, in particular, Reuters reported that the RBC Capital Markets analysts thought that Apple Incorporated, with its access to world-class software and secure ecosystem, could tackle the problems individuals face acquiring crypto assets due to know your customer laws. This is also known as KYC, right? Number one enemy of crypto. but we support it here and everything the IRS wants to do to you. Laws and other regulations. Okay. There you go. Josh sent me $10 too. Woohoo. There's another one. Equity. Thank you, Josh, from eliftprogram.com. If you guys want to learn how to be a blockchain developer, blockchain programmer, go to eliftprogram.com. And Josh is an ultra Chad. He's a former bodybuilding champion, 6-figure earner, real estate engineer. I mean, this guy has done it all. And now he's teaching people how to get onto the blockchain and become a blockchain engineer. Go to eliftprogram.com to sign up and learn how to code directly from him. People are getting jobs in less than 1 year of training with him instead of going 4 years to university and getting indoctrinated and, people just hating you for teaching just to hate yourself in college these days. All the indoctrination in there. Thank you. Sam Prashansky with $9.99 super chat says, shut up and take my fiat. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Really do. Let's go back to the article here. Not only that, Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak at a virtual event was quoted praising the merits of Bitcoin. Wozniak said Bitcoin was the equivalent of digital gold, only was better than gold in the ease with it can be accessed. In other words, he said, it is uniquely and completely a mathematical formula, which is also immutable. So it is almost a miracle of technology. He has noted that he does not yet invest in Bitcoin, but believes in it for the future. Okay. Goes on to say, Apple and A advertised it was looking to staff a new role for a business development manager dealing with, quote, alternative payment, with a key requirement for applicants being having at least 5 years working experience with alternative payment providers, including cryptocurrencies. So I'm going to just stop right. I'm going to finish. Well, actually, let me just finish the article because we're basically at the end. If rumors materialize as true, the impact that the news has on the Bitcoin market could potentially be bigger than the movement brought by Tesla's Bitcoin purchase announcement. Honestly, dude, like every time before I used to see Tesla, I'd be like, I fucking love Tesla. I love it so much. I'm going to buy it. I was really going to buy Tesla one day. But since Elon pulled this stunt, like every time I see the word Tesla, I just get filled with hate. I'm just like, I fucking hate this guy.
I used to I was thinking like, hey, it'd be kind of nice to get like a Tesla down the road. It's not too crazy of an in terms of price or whatever, but it's really nice looking, probably drives nice and all that. And I'm like, I can't do it anymore. Like, screw. I can't do it after all
fuck
Elon
this guy.
Again, screw him.
Really happy to have the former UFC welterweight title contender, Mr. John Fitch, in the chat. Multiple organization MMA champion, great guy, all around fantastic person, watching us live, and also a heavy supporter of Bitcoin. John Fitch is the man, and he's good friends with me and Charlie. John, great to have you with us this morning. But every time I see Tesla, I'm just like, I used to be excited and I used to be so happy, and now I'm like, I fucking hate you. I hate you, Elon. I hate you and your fucking 5 out of 10 ugly wife. Yeah, I said it. She's weird. All right. The alleged $2.5 billion already exceeds Tesla's $1.5 billion purchase. Recall that Tesla's announcement was one of the catalysts that drove the Bitcoin to its all-time high of $65,000. Additionally, should Apple decide to facilitate Bitcoin transactions on their payment application, they would have immediate access to a large customer base. So far, the Bitcoin market seems to be taking the rumors with a tinge of salt, as there have been Bitcoiners debunking it. The price of Bitcoin is down 1.72% in the last 24 hours, currently trading around $32,593. So I want to say this. So when I've been a lifelong iPhone user, mainly because I'm not poor, but I've been iPhone 3G, iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, iPhone 5, iPhone 6, iPhone 7, iPhone 8, iPhone 10, XS, and iPhone 11, and now I have iPhone 12 Pro Max, which I have recently dropped again and smashed the corner of the camera right there. You can see I ordered a case. Yeah, I dropped that in the bathroom in Okinawa yesterday, actually. So
you tend to have bad luck with phones down in Okinawa.
Well, the last one I intentionally smashed because I was drunk.
I know. But that's what I'm saying. Every time you go down,
it wasn't working. I was just like, I just threw it. I was in the shower. I was like, why is it not working when I'm in the shower and drunk? And I threw it down and smashed it. But anyways, now if you've been following the history of the ongoing battle between I would say the number one phone that rivals the iPhone is the Samsung Galaxy, in my personal opinion, right? And what a lot of people don't seem to realize is right now a lot of companies in Asia, and this is happening with China and Korea as well. What they do is China steals a lot of digital rights stuff, a lot of digital property, a lot of digital. They hack and they steal products and they just make them faster and quicker. They don't spend money on research and development. They just spend money on hacking and stealing from companies. Korea does this too with Samsung. And the one of the most recent Samsung Galaxy phones were programmed to have inside of it. There was the ability to store cryptocurrency in wallets embedded into the standard software that comes with the phone. So that leads me to believe if Samsung is it's one of two things. Samsung, they usually jump ahead of the curve with like if Apple's going to release like 3 cameras, they're like, oh well, this phone has 4 cameras, and they just salt Apple's game. That's how their strategy's been over the couple of years. They had a little bit of setback when the phones were exploding on planes and shit. That was a little bit of a setback, but it is an indicator of typically what's going to be happening with Bitcoin, or excuse me, with Apple. It's going to be it's an indicator of what's going to be happening with Apple. And so the most recent Galaxy was discovered to have the ability to have cryptocurrency payments built into it. Now, Apple knows that they can't let Android outdo it, because let's be honest, as much as I love my iPhone, in regards to functionality, the Android is the superior phone because it's not locked down with idiot-proof systems that Apple has built into the system. Like basically, it's like the equivalent of their MacBooks. Like you can't change your own RAM in a MacBook, which is like the easiest thing any fucking computer moron can do. Like they now solder the RAM into the computer. So the customization and the freedom of customization that Androids have really do make it the superior phone, but Apple has like the name brand Apple, and like every idiot girl wants an Apple iPhone. She's like, I want a Galaxy. No, they're not. They're like, I want an Apple phone. Apple can't allow themselves to fall behind in regards to their competitor, which is Android, let alone definitely the Android, the most superior Android, I believe, which is the Galaxy. I mean, you could argue that the Google Pixel and all these other things are better, but I mean, it's in regards to like even like the K-pop band Blackpink, they're like the most popular K-pop band in history, I think right now, girl K-pop band in history, and they were doing official promotions for Samsung and getting some real pop culture eyes on that camera. The camera and the phone itself. So I think that's a pretty big indicator that we're probably going to see it. And in addition to that, I'm going to share this second article. Before I go into the second article explaining the advertisement Apple has for looking for someone for alternative payments. Charlie, could there be another alternative payment? What are your thoughts on the first article? Just give me something for a little bit.
Yeah, so I think it's always interesting, right? Whenever you got rumors that are necessary, I don't think they've personally, I don't think they've bought Bitcoin yet, right? Or at least not $2.5 billion worth. Maybe they've dipped their toes on the background, but they're never going to say anything until like everything's ready to go and anything like that, right? Even Harvard, Yale, and Stanford, they've been buying up Bitcoin since I believe 2018, 2019. They have not said a word, right? And that's for their treasury and the, different things, right? So long term, a lot of the smart money, a lot of the people who are in these businesses, they will be getting into this. So I think it is inevitable, like you're saying. I agree with, Apple will need to basically compete with what Samsung's doing there. And Samsung's really, really smart and kind of genius for doing that in advance. The one interesting thing that we haven't mentioned that the article doesn't mention at all is central bank digital currencies, which are coming out between now and 2025, 2026, somewhere in there, which disgusting. I know. Yeah, exactly.
Disgusting.
It is what it is, but they're inevitable. They're coming out. They'll be with, basically every country. And it's going to be something. I don't know how many people have watched like the Mr. Robot series, but there's like a small like thread through that series about digital currencies, and they have eCoin, which is the evil corporation coin, basically. And so you're not only going to have these central bank digital currencies coming out from nations, right? And then we have also decentralized digital currencies like Bitcoin. Then we're also going to have corporate currencies, right? Which is something that we'll talk about here either probably in the coming weeks. On my show, I'm going to do another one of those digital currency war shows that I do every kind of month and a half. But with the corporate coins, there's this, the Korean company Kakao?
Yeah, Kakao Talk.
Yep. They're a huge company. They've made this cryptocurrency called Clayton.
Right. So just so you guys know, Kakao, so it's Kakao. They're like the WhatsApp of Korea. Right. It's a yellow icon. Go ahead.
Correct. And what they've done is they made this cryptocurrency called Clayton, Klaytn, which is in the top 100 market cap of coins. And I would just suggest people to go, if they're interested in that topic, to go watch the video about Clayton, the currency on, or the cryptocurrency on Coin Bureau's channel. It has a really good video on it. And then also Line, which is like the WhatsApp of Japan, which has, hundreds of millions of users, or over 100 million users. They actually have partnered with Celsius Celsius Network, which we talk about on the channel from time to time. They partnered with them back last September, October, I believe, and they're going to be using the Celsius loan system on the Line app down the road as well. So you got a lot of these companies, especially in Asia, because actually, as Bitcoin was kind of trending down in April and May, Asia was actually one of the places that was buying the most Bitcoin during that period of time, more so than the Americans. Whereas when the market's up, the Americans were buying more of the Bitcoin, right? And so you got all these and then you got China making the central bank digital currency. That's probably the first one that's going to come out. You got all these, ingredients being put to the pot, but nobody's going to be like, hey, we're here and we're ready for it. Except for, PayPal started to do so right from last October. And so they're all timing this, right? So in the background, 100% correct. The rumors here, they're going to come to fruition down the road. It's just a matter of time. And the question is then when. So I think, I agree with everything you're saying. It's just a matter of when will Apple actually do it? And then when will they actually announce it? And when that happens, I don't know. I'm just guessing they probably will be towards the later end of this bull cycle, or sometime in the early stages of the next bull cycle around 2024, 2025. So I'm guessing either they say sometime in 2022 or sometime in 2025, most likely.
Interesting. Java with the $50 super chat says, you're never too old to enjoy what money can buy. Send it to Charlie's channel because Charlie has more money than me, as usual. And then Adam Soil 11 with the Canadian no, Charlie lost all his money voting accident too.
Yeah, I had to use that Flex Seal to get that book back in repair.
Someone send $50 so we can buy Flex Seal. Adam Soil 11, Canadian $10 says, thank you both. Listen up and pay attention, make money. Absolutely. Thank you. Interesting rumor from Josh from eLiftProgram.com, our developer on the inside. Says rumor that Apple has been trying to talk to MetaMask developers. Very, very, very interesting. Interesting. Artemis Cameron says corporate currency, like the company store tokens from back in the day at the coal mines. Yeah. It's like Disney bucks.
Yeah, it'll be Disney bucks. There'll be, because if you look at, you can call them currencies, you can call them tokens, these different things. It's kind of like one way to explain Ethereum, right? Is when you walk into a shopping mall, right? If you go to like Chuck E. Cheese, or if you go to a movie theater, you get a token or you get a ticket, right? These types of things. And so you're going to get a lot of these, kind of different things that some of them are happening for specific transactions, like maybe going into a movie, right? Then you can use your ticket to get into the actual theater, something like that. They use a token of a cryptocurrency to do one specific function, or so they might use it to give discounts on their platform, to make them a payment rail system, to make them a bank, to make them a kind of challenge some sovereign nations. You're going to have a lot of different purposes that some different companies will take different angles on.
Yeah, I think. Do you see what they're trying to do with the global 15% tax? They're trying to like. You seen that?
Yeah, you should actually. I mean, I saw that video from you. You were the one that shared that with me first, and I was just like, Oh man, it falls right in line with what the book The Sovereign Individual talks about, which is as these large nations, which have been made for mainly warring purposes and protection purposes over the last couple since the Industrial Revolution, right? As you see them lose power and people not really care about politics anymore, and the internet takes over and decentralization takes over, people who want to can take more control of their own lives. Yeah. They're going to try to harder and harder to keep people enslaved in their system. Whereas people that at some point they'll realize you can't hold me back anymore. And things will get interesting.
Thinking about that, I think I texted to you on iMessage, right?
Yeah. You want me to try to pull it up, or you want to pull it up?
Is it the John McAfee one? No. Where did I send it to you? Did I send it to you? I'm looking through our messages right now. Yeah. Here, I got it. I'll send it to myself. I think I'm gonna play it for the audience because I think this is really important.
It's a really good video. Really good video.
I found this. I forget where I found it, but I did find it on. And then let me pull it. Just send it to myself on Signal. 1 second. Wasn't expecting to show this, but I think this ties into Artemis saying mentioning the coal mine coins that they used to give you back in the day. Yeah, and
there's so many things that seem separate from each other that are all getting intertwined in economics these days with cryptocurrencies. It's really interesting.
Yeah, man. For me personally, I want to see Joe Biden fall down off of Air Force One again. That's like the economic. That's the economic news I'm looking forward to. Here we go. Take a look at this, guys. This is why cryptocurrency is extremely important. And the whole corporations kind of making their own currency. This wasn't even planned, but I think this is extremely important. And shout out to Mac the Day Gamer because he's from one of the nations that are holding out against this, which is Ireland. Only a few nations are against this, leaders trying to endorse a global taxation. So the companies will no longer be able to post up in Malta like Binance, or a lot of companies. I think Airbnb's headquarters are in Ireland as well. Trying to a lot of tech companies actually have moved to Ireland to avoid these taxation laws. Just take a look here. It's 3 minutes long.
Some of the world's largest economies have endorsed a move to stop multinational companies from shifting profits to low-tax havens. Finance ministers from the G20 backed a plan to establish a global minimum corporate tax of at least 15%. This comes after 2 days of meetings in Venice.
At least 15%. Is do you cocksuckers have enough money?
Italy. It will most likely affect big tech companies like Amazon and Facebook. Supporters say the move will force digital giants to pay their fair share in taxes. So far, more than 130 countries have signed up, but 8 are holding out.
Well, 2 days of meetings among the G20 finance ministers have finally wrapped up on Saturday night in Venice. The highlight and big focus of these meetings was how to adapt the global tax policy that started as an idea a little bit over a month ago at the G7 summit in Cornwall into something that can be concretely adapted by some of the world's biggest economies. Over the past month, we have seen the OECD take this from an idea to something that is a policy that countries could ratify, could adapt, could sign on to. But the issue is that while 131 of the world's countries have signed on and agreed to adapt these rules, there are a number of holdout countries, 8 in total within Europe, which many of the world's eyes are on. That includes Estonia, Hungary, and Ireland. That is one of the big holdouts.
Those are like the El Salvadors of Europe. Estonia. What was it? Estonia, Ireland, and what was the last one?
I didn't catch the third one, but I caught those two.
Estonia, Ireland. Let's rewind. That's the beauty of the internet.
Eyes are on. That includes Estonia, Hungary, and Ireland.
Hungary. Hungary's pretty base. Do you know if a woman has 4 children in Hungary, she never has to pay taxes for the rest of her life?
Did not know that.
I would get a woman pregnant for that. Zero taxation. I am good at the practicing of the baby making. You could knock that out in 3 years, right?
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, is one of the big holdout. So the G20 ministers over the weekend tried to discuss, yes, we have most of the world's support, but how do we increase the amount of support and make sure that all countries are able to sign on to this? How do we entice these holdout countries for now? They ended the day with a joint communique that said that they would set a deadline of October when the heads of state of the G20 meet in Rome to try and convince these countries to sign on. They have different approaches, different ideas. They would try and use their bilateral relations to encourage them to sign on, but it will be a tricky road that lies ahead. There's no doubt about that, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic bearing brunt on a lot of the world's economy, trying to pick up and enter a recovery phase. There is a lot of optimism that is guiding this deal, notably the fact that, as by their estimates, it will bring at least of a minimum $100 billion in tax revenue for some of the world's economies to use on funding different recovery programs, especially as the global tax playing field is evened and stabilized into the coming years. But the fact remains that for those 8 holdout countries, they are just not sure. The biggest example that many people are talking about is Ireland, of course, because here within the European Union, they have gone as far as suing Brussels to try and keep their corporate tax rate, that 12.5%, as it is. They are a favorite for many multinationals that choose them because of their 12.5% corporate tax rate. It's quite ideal. It's quite low. It's perhaps the lowest in the bloc. And that is what they want to keep it at, but they worry that if they sign on to these rules, some of these multinational companies will go elsewhere within the bloc, moving their headquarters and moving those precious dollars with them. So there will be a lot that lies ahead, a lot of things to convince them to sign on to, and these G20 ministers have their work cut out for them as they lobby these countries to come on board. Ryan Thompson, CGT.
So, I mean, as you can see, the governments are clawing for relevancy right now. Every morning when Joe Biden wakes up at 9:30 a.m., he is just ready and filled with piss and vinegar, trying to shut down the cryptocurrency markets here. Him and was it Pelosi or Pocahontas that were like, we need to like regulate crypto and make it more illegal? Like,
everybody who comes into that office wants to do the same thing. I think it was at the end of the Trump administration. I can kind of hear myself a little bit in the background, but the same thing with what's his face, the head of the Treasury at the time.
The fucking
Mnuchin.
Mnuchin.
Steve Mnuchin, he basically was doing the same thing. And so it's just like, yeah, of course, it's like, there's in general, the government doesn't take too kindly to decentralized currencies, right? But, the interesting thing about watching something like that there is, what's their playbook? Well, their playbook is to A, remove the middle class, make everybody more poor, right? B, make the poor, basically stupid by not providing proper education over the last 20, 30 years. Right. If you watch some videos of Steve Wozniak, right, who's a really intelligent guy, who's the head of Apple, he's been talking about how terrible, the U.S. specifically, but also a lot of other places, education systems are, and are not geared towards math or the sciences as much as they should be. And so once they make everybody stupid and poor, relatively speaking, it's not like, everybody's going to become that way, because the great thing is the internet, right? Kind of like the Library of Alexandria, everybody can teach themselves. And that's why we're encouraging people, right? Screw the college degree when you can go and teach yourself for free and then gain, a lot of different skills through the internet. But anyways, then once they accomplish that goal, then they can manipulate the media and tell all the people who, basically believe it hook, line, and sinker that they're, we got to get these corporations to pay their fair share because the government needs this money to do things for you. And they get so many people basically sucking on the government teat that, they're dependent on them. And then as they're dependent, then they can do whatever they want. It's all about control, right? So when people break out of the system and are able to control their own lives, right, through entrepreneurial stuff and end up making these corporations that do actually feed the real economy, because they can print as much money as they want. The government does not need your money for taxes, right, as much as they say they do.
Yeah.
And so when they get everybody dependent, then the people who become independent, they just want to basically, now they're trying on a global scale to, take their money away to some extent, more and more and more. Once they go, go an inch, then they'll take a mile. And then they can control everything, and they, it's no longer anything about democracy or any of that stuff. It's all about totalitarianism at that point. With what you see going on with the Fed, and then also going on with the Bank of International Settlements, with the global central banks. So just generally speaking, it's not a good thing. It's long-term really bad for everybody, but most people, they go along for the ride because it's easy to get that, government money, right? And it seems like the thing that's going to, be easier down the road, but actually going on the internet, learning, the truth for yourself, figuring this stuff out, becoming self-sovereign and independent, and then, creating, your own income streams through maybe your own business or whatever. And it doesn't have to be like crazy entrepreneurial, but at least something. If you can do that at least this century, then you'll be able to do what you want in your life. And then you just have to figure out the tax part. But most people don't want to go down that road, and most people don't want to hold their own. Most people don't want to be their own bank. But the people who can be their own bank through cryptocurrency are the people who will get the same benefits of what some banks get in terms of having control not only over their own lives, but then, having more freedom to do things. So it's not necessarily about greed of getting more money. It's about getting freedom. But for most people, they can't, they don't think that far ahead.
Yeah. Like I said, all this is doing is, I believe it's accelerationism. Because it is BS, right? Like, you guys have a printing press, and you're like, and I noticed, yep. This started with a talking point with old Beijing Biden. He's like, we just want these corporations to pay their fair share. It's like every time a fucking Democrat comes into office, all they want to do is lie to the public, the morons who voted for them, and be like, we need to raise taxes from these big bad guys. And then, you're going to get more money. Like, the middle class is going to get more money. Like, no, you're not. You're not going to, like, it's not going to get better. Like, you just...
Like, look at the roads and infrastructure. They're not spending money to make that better, which I'm from Minnesota, right? We had that bridge collapse a few years ago. It was all over the news and all that stuff, right? And it's like, you come here to Japan, you got like highways in the middle of Tokyo that, like, a lot of the highways in Japan, right, are built like built above the ground, right? They're not like the highway, like the flat open highway that we have in America. It takes a lot of money to, keep up that infrastructure so it doesn't collapse over the long term. So Japan is, to some extent is using their money, properly to, give proper infrastructure, not only here in Tokyo, but for the rest of the country as well. United States, on the other hand, like, there's, fat cats are keeping it for themselves. They're telling you they're trying to help you out.
We got another converter. DeFi T-Tave says, used to be a hater, but I was being a poon. You guys are cool dudes. Yes, we are. We are the coolest dudes in Tokyo. Don't forget. Guys, don't forget, smash the like button. It's for free. Let's go back to the article here, because we just, like I said, ultimately, everybody should read The Sovereign Individual. I am not one of these people who thinks we're heading into this dystopian future where we're just locked down and controlled by the government, and it's just like one gigantic enslavement. But people think that's going to happen. People think that's
it's going more towards that than it isn't, but it's not going to get to that penultimate conclusion. So I would agree with you, basically.
Right. And like, a lot of people say it's going to fail because of the guy leading it, but I don't know. Did you see a couple days ago, Donald Trump has led a class action lawsuit against Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for banning him, and again about saying that banning and shadow banning is unconstitutional because these platforms have no longer become private entities. They are literally it's free for everybody to access. So it's, to an extent, I believe. I mean, I just hate because I support the lawsuit because me and you are shadow banned as well. And
I mean, it's freedom of speech, right? Like, anybody should be able to say what they are intending to say, and then it's up to us as consumers of that information to determine what is what we agree with or what we think is correct and what is not, right? It's not these corporations which should be determining that. And you got so many people like, oh, I need my safe space and all that bullshit, right? That they're like, oh no, you can have freedom of speech unless I disagree with you. Then no, you can't have freedom of speech anymore, which is like, what? Like, how's that supposed to work? That's just a slippery slope.
All I'm going to say is this. If you look at history, the people who were censoring were never the good guys.
Yep.
Never the good, because what do you got to hide, right? If you're dating a girl and you're like, show me your phone. She's like, no, I don't want to show you my phone. You're like, all right. Don't let me see those DMs. Don't let me see your messages. Okay, so sounds like you got something to hide. Okay, well, let me give me 1 hour. I'll let you see it. I'll go. Oh no, now I believe you. It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. Let's go to this article here. Article numero dos. So this one here is. Hold on. Let me reshare this. Let me get the nice share going on. Let me click the Google Chrome tab.
Grab another cup of water.
Oh, I'm just gonna go. I'll just nuke the. Here we go. Gotcha. I'll just do it. Go ahead. Somebody says, Mr. Madhouse says, only 4 years too late, Trump. He should have tackled social media from the get-go. Anyways, so this is the article that Zycrypto posted in regards to the advertisement Apple put out for what some could believe to be a blockchain position. Now, when you think of alternative payments, like what is the other alternative payment? They have Apple Pay, right? Which is you basically set up your credit card. In Japan, they have Suica Pay and basically these digital cards you can charge up. I doubt they're bringing Alipay to it, which is the equivalent of PayPal to an extent from China. I doubt they're integrating PayPal because that's a direct competitor. I doubt they're integrating Stripe. That's also a direct competitor. So what other alternative payment system is there out there? I mean, are we going to have gold? Is it going to be little slots of gold that shoot out of your iPhone, right? I mean, just if you guys can think of something different, enlighten me in the chat, please. But I'm going to read the article in the meantime. It says Apple has posted a job opening. Let's see that one. For a business. Let's just go straight to let's go straight to the source. How about that? Let's take a look at the article or the actual job opening itself. Here we go. All right. Business Development Manager, Alternative Payments, Santa Clara Valley, Cupertino, California, United States, Marketing. At Apple, new ideas have a way of becoming extraordinary products, services, customer experiences. And customer experiences people once couldn't have imagined and now can't imagine living without. Bring passion and dedication to your job, and there's no telling what you can accomplish. God, who wrote this? Posted July 1st, so relatively fresh. Interesting. The article actually was written on May 26th, so it looks like they may have refreshed this. If you're excited by the idea of making a real impact and joining a team where we pride ourselves in making one of the most diverse... Oh, fucking kill me. Yeah, I really want to work for this company, Charlie, because there's white people, brown people, black people, and yellow people. I don't care how much I get paid. I don't care about my stock shares. I don't care about my paid time off. I don't care about working remotely. Tell me about the amount of African Americans that work there. Asian Americans. Do we have an equal distribution? Do we have Cameroonians and Ugandans and Nigerians? How about Latin Americans? Do we have people from Honduras? I can't work there if there's not people from Honduras. How about from El Salvador? Who the fuck? I don't know. I'm just ranting. This shit makes me sick.
They got their Uyghur quota.
They got the Uyghur quota. They definitely have their Uyghur quota. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it gets that can go dark real quick if we go down.
God, that did get dark. Where we pride ourselves being one of the most diverse and inclusive companies in the world. How about, are they inclusive of red pill chauvinists like myself? A career with Apple might be your dream job. The Apple Wallet's payment and commerce WPC team is seeking an experienced business development manager to lead alternative payment partnerships. Interesting. I wonder if they'll embed Coinbase Wallet or hell, even Celsius or something. That would be interesting to see. Coinbase Celsius would definitely go to 14K.
Yeah.
We're looking for a proven professional in a global alternative and emerging payment solutions. Global alternative, bro. What is this? It's either the mark of the beast 666, or I was asking the chat, what else could it be? Alternative payments, what else could it be?
But the only thing, so they have to do it eventually because of the central bank digital currencies, but then by doing the central bank digital currencies, right, they're going to, like you said, if Samsung is getting into the cryptocurrency game, they're going to be they probably don't want to, but they're going to be yeah, I guess we have to. And Wozniak, he's a super intelligent dude. And Yeah, he was saying the reason why he's saying I haven't invested in cryptocurrency, but I think it has a future and it's going to do really well, and it's like a miraculous technology. He says that because he knows what effect he'll have. If he says I own some Bitcoin, right? So whether he does or not, he's definitely going to not admit it until Apple's like, okay, everything's good, Woz, you can do this now.
Now you can spit up.
He's got enough money.
You can spit up the juice now, right? Going back to the article here, which is just fantastic. What else could it be, Charlie? Honestly.
Only central bank digital currencies, in my opinion.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it doesn't, I don't know.
It's going to be a mixture. I mean, PayPal did it, right? And the reason why PayPal did it is because as a company, they were not doing hot, right? They're losing a lot of money, or not growing as much as they had in the past, right? So they've gotten into the cryptocurrency game. But most of these companies, right, they don't get in until they have to, or until there's such a big benefit for them to not do it. Because usually there's more of a benefit for them among, the general public and among their competitors and stuff to be out of cryptocurrency, because over this decade the look towards cryptocurrency is going to shift from it's just magic internet nerd money, it's speculative, blah 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 blah, it's super volatile, it's dangerous, right? Then it's going to be in the middle of this decade, oh no, central bank digital currencies are where it's at, right? We trust in the Fed basically, which is really really stupid in my opinion. And then you're going to have guys like Nouriel Roubini saying central bank digital currencies are going to crush Bitcoin, and Bitcoin keeps taking off. It's cool now, or okay now, for corporations. Celebrities love to get into cryptocurrency because, oh my gosh, like now I can actually start my own income streams, right? I don't have to be beholden to my handlers basically. Right. And then they're going to popularize it for the general public. Then towards the end of the decade, crypto's just as easy as using email.
I mean, and I think, like I said, it's very, I think it's inevitable.
Yep.
There is no, and this is clear. Even if it's, honestly speaking, I don't know. I think that Tesla is more of a radical company, right? So they're allowed to do it, but Apple's like got their crystal clean image, but I think people are slowly waking up and starting to hate Apple too. Myself included, like a lifelong Apple guy, but I'm just like, oh, fuck you guys. Like, this shit sucks. Your phones suck. Like, it's not cool. So if they get on the bandwagon of these central bank coins, I'm really going to be like, all right, fuck this. It's like normie phone now. But I will tell you this, the company that does be like, yeah, you can store Bitcoin on our built-in wallet. Like, if Samsung makes the jump, because fucking Korean people love cryptocurrency.
Yep. And
they're like crackheads over there. They love trading that shit, bro. And we have friends in Korea. Charlie and I have gone to Korea together. And Charlie was living in Korea for a while as well. I've been there multiple times in extended stays. And Korean people absolutely love cryptocurrency. Korean people love fucking making money. They're hustlers out there. They work the most hours of people per week on the planet. And that would be a huge, like, if some company has the balls to be like, yeah, we're going to take crypto, even if it's like the crappy fucking, Microsoft phone, right? Because Microsoft, you can pay with on Microsoft.com with Bitcoin. Did you know that?
I did not know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, you can buy with shit with Bitcoin from Microsoft. So I think the phone that does make that leap, they're going to be the ones. They're going to be like the SoftBank, so you guys know SoftBank is one of the. It's not the biggest cell phone company in Japan, but SoftBank was the company because prior to the iPhone's existence, Japanese phones have always been like, yeah, we're just going to use Japanese phones. We're not going to bring American products into our market. And SoftBank was like, fuck it. You want an iPhone? Come to us. And SoftBank blew up, blew up. And Masayoshi Son is the CEO of SoftBank, and that guy is an innovator and changed SoftBank. Literally, SoftBank now purchased Sprint. Sprint is owned by a Japanese company. So, anyways, let's go back to this article. We need your help forming partnership framework and commercial models, defining implementation paradigms, identifying key players, and managing relationships with strategic alternative payment partners. See, again, strategic alternative payment partners. That's huge, man. This position will be responsible for end-to-end business development, including screening partners, negotiating and closing commercial agreements, and launching new programs. We're looking for a candidate who is comfortable with ambiguity, enjoys thinking about edge cases, and asking what is an alternative way of doing this, and is a strong verbal and written communicator with a high level of integrity, energy, and sense of urgency to, quote, make things happen. This position is located in Cupertino, California headquarters, and will be a full-time in-house role once Apple returns to an in-house work arrangement post-Rona. Key qualifications. Here we go. This. I think they put it here at the end. Okay, I'm skipping ahead. 10 years of professional experience with 6+ years in business or market development at multiple companies in financial services segments. 5+ years experiencing work in or with alternative payment providers such as digital wallets, cryptocurrency, BNPL. What's that?
I do not know. I'd have to look it up.
Fast payments. Cryptocurrency, just gotta put that in. Cryptocurrency and etc. Cryptocurrency, But anyways, deep knowledge to alternative ecosystems, understanding the complexity of funds flows, roles, responsibilities for settlement, relevant regulations and industry standards, and the wide spectrum of fintech products. Beautiful. I absolutely love it. Absolutely. Let me see. I'm just going to do a quick scan if we're going to see anything for blockchain. Here we go. Description: lead the partnership program with key players in the alternative payments ecosystem, covering the complete process of partner identification, business case development, socialization, partnership negotiation, contract signing, execution, go-to-the-market launch, and continued partnership value growth. Work with senior level partners internally, externally to advance business case, secure resources, and provide ongoing communications. Provide industry insights, market opportunities to Apple cross-function teams, including alliance, product engineering, and marketing to influence business strategy and product roadmaps for the growth of Apple Pay and wallet services. 25% travel required, bachelor's degree required, MBA preferred. I'm going to apply. I feel like I can qualify for this job.
Yep.
It'll be a massive pay cut, but after that, here we go. BNP, buy now, pay later. So we're gonna do some financing. Are we gonna do some fucking financing on these on the phones too? You could apply. Right now, Charlie, you could pick up your phone and apply for the Apple credit card.
Nah.
No, I'm just saying,
for the credit card. I thought you were gonna say this job. I was like, nah.
No. Yeah, no. You'd literally if you just pick up your phone, you can apply for the Apple credit card right now on your phone. Yeah, they have that built in. So.
The Apple Watch here in Japan, you can go to most stores and you just scan it and you can pay with Apple Pay through that way.
Yep. So what do you think? Does it sound like crypto job? I think it sounds like crypto job.
Yeah, I mean, there's cryptocurrency will be involved, and it was is the same with Time Magazine actually with their CFO position earlier this year. They said in the requirements that you have to understand Bitcoin. Which was interesting because basically they're riding the Michael Saylor train with what MicroStrategy and Tesla were doing, right? So, yeah, it's inevitable. Kathy Wood, one of her thesis for Bitcoin is that eventually most Fortune 500 corporations, if not all of them, plus the bigger wealth managers in the world will have about 5% of their net worth in cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, to start with. And so if that happens, then Bitcoin at that point will be worth anywhere between $250,000 to $600,000, basically, is I believe the range she was talking about. But don't quote me on that. I'd have to go back and check. But just generally speaking, within the next 5 years, basically by 2026 this time, getting a stable $300,000 Bitcoin or $250,000 Bitcoin will be the new 25,000. So it's if we would have said back in 2017, 2,500 will be the new or 25,000 will be the new 2,500. Right? People would have laughed at you. And if back in the earlier cycle, back in let's say back in 2012, and if you were to say, $2,500 would be the new $25, and so on and so forth, back into, you know what I'm saying there. I mean, it's how it's going to grow. And then eventually, when we get to 2.5 million per Bitcoin, sometime between 2030 and 2045, somewhere in there, then, 250,000 will look like a fucking steal. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Get your ticket to Citadel while it's under 30,000, or while it's around 30,000 if you can,
So there you have it, boys. That's our episode today. What do you think? Leave a comment if you're watching on the replay right now, and shout out to you guys that watch all the way to the end. Let us know. What do you think? Rumor, true, false? We'll find out next week, hopefully. Until then, you guys have a wonderful day. Peace out.